And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth. Centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, health, nutrition, and so much more. Over 80 categories of consumer advocate content here daily on your number one consumer advocate program here in Tampa Bay, the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, we want you to pull out your smartphone, save our consumer advocate hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372.
Here's my number, so call me maybe.
And we don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're going to help you win. Also, check out our website, consumerqb.com. Our website is filled with great information. You can see links to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. You can see all of our previous shows, our blogs, as well as all of the contact information for our expert contributors. And this is Intelligent Talk Radio, and I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. We'll go around the horn now, make our introductions. In studio, Mary Surniki, Corporate Compliance Manager with Suncoast Roofing. Welcome back in.
Hey, Brandon. So glad to be here.
Absolutely. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, there's been this little storm that came through and knocked some shingles off some roofs. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about what the best way is to get somebody out there, give you an estimate, and why it's important to have a licensed contractor come to your home.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. As well as Fred Muth, Design and Sales, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. The Tin Man is in the house.
The Tin Man is back. Thank you. Let's get the show on the road. I got jobs to measure. Come on, let's go. Move on. Let's go. Anyway, I want to talk about all the shingles that blow through the cage roofs. And, obviously we get a lot of work out of that. And sometimes the roofers themselves, they help us out too. They throw the shingles down. So thanks a lot, Mary. Any work to throw my way, I appreciate it.
Anytime, Fred.
Okay. There you go. Also making her debut as well, Lela Bloodsworth. She's a founder of Plan for Peace, and she's a licensed psychotherapist. Welcome in.
Great, Brandon. Thanks for having me here. I'm hoping today to deal with other stressful issues, not Irma, but stressful issues in the family, in particular, some resources I have to offer people that are divorcing.
Yeah, stress. Speaking of stress, that the added stress of a hurricane coming like that, I imagine you saw some insights there. We saw some in the real estate space. Anytime a storm enters what they call the box, you can't bind insurance. So people's plans to move were put on hold. I mean, a lot of added stress from an already hectic world that we live in.
Absolutely. The phone lines have been busy in my office.
I can imagine. That's right. So yeah, more from our expert contributors here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got an interesting story as well in our Feel Good Story of the Week regarding Irma and Tampa Ad Agency rehabilitating billboards tattered by the storm. And let's give a shout out to our restaurant partner, Hula Bay, one of our restaurant partners here in Tampa. Hula Bay, waterfront ambiance, excellent food, wide variety on the menu with excellent sushi as well. And the tuna is shipped in fresh from Hawaii every 2 days. And go say hello to the management team and let them know the real estate quarterback sent you down at Hula Bay, 5210 Tyson Avenue in South Tampa. Now, if you tell them the real estate quarterback sent you, they're going to give you a special. It's going to be that free water with lemon that they're going to hook you up with every time. They take care of you down there. And we're here in studio helping you win in any marketplace. We start off with a little bit of an audible. As you know, I'm a published author and professional speaker, so we wanted to talk about today a little personal development for you, the 6 Ps, which is proper prior planning prevents poor performance. So anytime you have, if you focus on the 6 Ps, and so you want to make a list the night before, or sometimes if you're planning an event, of course, that starts weeks before, months before, and it's the way the subconscious mind works. So positive progress is going to energize, it's going to release endorphins, and it's going to release one of my best friends, Big Mo, the momentum factor, right? So the 10-90 rule says that the first 10% of the time that you spend working on planning a task, you're going to generate that momentum, and it's going to help you spend spend that time, and it's going to save you up to 90% of the time of getting the job done. And the rule is you want to think on paper. So whenever you write things down, you're thinking on paper, you're being more clearly. There's something magical that comes when you take something from the mind down through the pen onto the paper. And so you want to make action items. You want to use a list and follow the 6 P's. The proper prior planning prevents poor performance, that is. So here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, we're going to help you win. All right, let's go ahead and talk with Mary Surniki now. She's a corporate compliance manager with Suncoast Roofing. And of course, you've if you watched our show before, you've seen Chuck Peterson on the show. You've seen Brad on the show as well. I forgot his last name, Brad. But you got a great team over there.
We really do. And, we've been busy. And talking about a great team, because we need to be a team, especially now because we've been splitting guys up, because we're just trying to cover more ground because we've gotten so many calls. One of the biggest things that we've seen out there is they'll call us, they'll come out. They said my insurance company said it's just needs to be a repair. Well, if you have 25% damage to your roof or more, we need to take a look at that. So you need a licensed roofer to come out and take a look and inspect that roof. And the reason that you have like the Attorney General and everybody on TV or these little signs everywhere saying about licensed contractors, because somebody will come up, to a neighborhood with a truck and a ladder and guys with shirts, and they'll go from door to door, and they're called storm chasers. Yeah. And it's actually doing a disservice to your community and to your town, because you don't know what they're putting on that roof. Right. And you don't. So when then your adjuster, you're like, oh, I had it fixed, and then your insurance adjuster comes out there because they're getting tons of calls too, and sometimes the adjuster can't get out for 6 to 8 weeks. Wow. So it's very important to protect your investment. I mean, your home is your largest investment that you have. So with those loose shingles and stuff, I had a guy that was out there cleaning up his yard, and he found loose shingles. He was like, oh, he goes, my neighbor's shingles are all over my front lawn. And then when he looked a little closer, he's like, these might be from my house, So we had our guys go up, and he goes, I couldn't even tell. He goes, because I didn't think I got the storm so badly here. Yeah. But you just never know. So it's better to have have somebody come out and take a look at it. And if it's something that we can fix quickly or do a small repair, or if it's something we can do a re-roof, we'll do that too. And then you get that warranty that you get with us. Yeah, let's talk about that. The Master GAF, Master Elite Certified. Yeah, the Golden Pledge warranty. Yeah. So it's a 25-year workmanship warranty, and it's a lifetime shingle on your roof. So people are like, oh, my shingles only last 10 years. No, they should not. So, when we install them correctly, they can, it's up to 50-year and 25-year prorated, but that's a lifetime warranty on that material. So it's important too, when you have a guy that's in a truck that's coming up with shingles, or if you're calling and having somebody come out to you. And a couple of questions you should ask, like when you're making an appointment with somebody, is, what's the name of the person that's coming to my home? Number one. Like if I say, hey, Brad's coming out to your house today, he drives a Suncoast Roofing truck, he wears a Suncoast Roofing shirt, and he has our insurance information in his truck to provide you. Yeah. Because that's important, because there's a lot of people out there being, ripped off. I was at one home, a lady came up to me, she goes, I paid $300 for them to fix a small repair. She paid them in full, and she hasn't heard from them in 2 weeks. So there's, we don't, and, we're going to help that customer out, because we feel like, if, you put positive stuff out there, you're going to get that back, you know, but she was really taken advantage of, and we're trying to prevent that at Suncoast Roofing. So what are some things that, if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhines. We're talking with Mary Surniki with Suncoast Roofing. So what are some things that folks can do to be proactive? So let's say you have this storm cleanup, you've got these storm chasers coming in. What do you want to do to be proactive? You want to make sure that you look them up online, ask the company name, and of course, not give them all the money up front. No, and you want to make sure that they have a license number, and you can literally just Google that license number and pull up the company. It comes right up on Sunbiz. Yep. That's really important. And you know what? If nobody's ever heard of the roofing company that's coming out to you, there's an issue. You know what I mean? Because we all kind of work with each other. We all see each other in different neighborhoods and stuff like that. If something looks out of place, ask more questions. Right. You know what I mean? Get another estimate. Because if something seems too good, sometimes it might be, and it's, doesn't hurt to have those few other questions, you know, because you could have a screen guy like Fred that could be, messing things up for you.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
The Tin Man wouldn't do that. Yeah, so,
Maybe.
So that's the thing. Yeah, you want to be careful about that when you look at these types of storms, the situations that come up, and outside of that, the construction is high right now. I think in previous shows we've had folks talking about labor shortages out there. Finding good quality people to help with completing these jobs. There's a lot of challenges in the real estate market as well.
And there's a lot of stress. Like these homeowners, they don't know the first thing about a roof. They don't know about, this is the very first time they've ever had to probably call their insurance company. When they closed on their home, they know that they have homeowners insurance and they might know the name of the company, but they've never read the policy. And they're realizing that they had a choice when they chose insurance companies and that they have hurricane deductibles. Yep. And I've gone out to some homes and they're like, we didn't realize that we had such a high deductible.
Yeah.
Those are questions that, everybody should start looking at their policies and look at now, because after a storm passes, you want to make sure that you're protected.
Yeah, that's the goal of this show as well. We want to make sure we put you in contact with people that are going to treat you right, that are going to do a good deal. We've got a power team of 80-plus show partners. We want you to think about this show as the hub of your financial, your business, your legal, your health wheel. And each spoke extending out representing another one of our preferred partners, our on-air expert contributors that we bring on the show to help educate, entertain, enlighten, and engage you to help you live a better life. So no matter what you're facing out there, we've got a solution for you. So make sure you stay here with us. When we come back, we're going to talk more from our expert contributors. We've got an interesting feel-good story of the week, as well as a Tampa ad agency rehabilitating billboards tattered by the storm, and more from our expert contributors. So stay with us. Do not touch that dial. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to ConsumerQB.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Enjoy tranquil seclusion in an eco-lover's paradise. Paddling through the mangroves where the only sounds you'll hear are the sounds of nature. Because you deserve to relax on vacation, visit Pasco County, Florida.
listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here at Quarterback Show, published author. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. And actually got a new project that we're starting up here. Going to be releasing that in January, partnering up with Ken Shamrock. A lot of you guys that are following the UFC fighting, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, you'll notice he's a Hall of Famer in that sport, WWE as well, partnered up with him, and Des Woodruff. So they're going to be calling into the show soon. Some big announcements happening here around the Quarterback Show and things that we're doing nationwide now. Going to be going nationwide with that product. And we're here in studio, live from our studio in Salem Communications in Tampa. And we want to remind you, 5 o'clock drive time daily here on AM 1380 The Biz, syndicated on the weekends on FM 102.5 The Bone, Sunday mornings, and our daily TV show as well on WeBeam TV. So check out our TV version on WeBeam TV. And you can also stream it live from our website, consumerqb.com. All right, so first segment we heard from Mary Surniki, Suncoast Roofing, talked about the Golden Pledge warranty and ways that you can be proactive in protecting yourself with Hurricane Irma and some of the impacts that we're still feeling in the relief efforts. Let's talk with Fred Muth now. The Tin Man is in the house. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, helping people design these beautiful in-between spaces. You know, it's not inside the home, it's not the complete outside, but it's that beautiful space right there in between.
Well, right now we're not doing a lot of designing. We're doing a lot of estimating damage. Yeah. And by the way, Mary, you took the words right out of my mouth. So whatever Mary said, basically I'm going to say the same thing. And, it's a true statement about the scammers. I see out there in our business, by the way, I don't know what you call them in the roofing business. In the aluminum business, we are tin men. Anyway, the scammers, except for me. Anyway, I see guys driving around with the pickup trucks, no signs on the side, and of course they go to Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever. They buy a roll of screen fabric, they throw it in the back, and it really looks like an authentic, position where the guy's going to come in and do rescreening, whatever. And I've heard stories where they take a deposit and go down the road, and that's it. Deposit's gone. Mm-hmm. So be careful, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. And the other thing I can say is we've been doing this a long time. I lived through this back in 2004 when the construction boom was here. And we couldn't find shingles or screen. And then Charlie, Fran, Ivan, Gene, I think you remember them. They all went through, and they made the industry even worse. It's basically a deja vu from what happened back then. But we know how to get through it, and the homeowners can be stressed out, and I can appreciate that myself. I had a tree hit the house in 2008, and that was not a pretty sight. So I know how it feels. Just call the contractors, listen to the representatives. Most of us know what we're talking about in this business. And in my business, for example, I usually look a little further beyond the enclosure, because when a tree hits an enclosure, in most cases, it does more damage than just to the enclosure. We find that the actual hit and the shock will create problems back at the fascia board and the rafters, etc. And these are all pretty much unforeseen. And, you're trusting, if the house is 10, 15 years old, whatever, you may have some weekends there anyway, through rotted wood, etc. But a lot of times you can't see it. And we'll remove the cage. And if there may be indications of some damaged wood up there. But I advise all the homeowners to, when they talk to their insurance adjusters, make sure that they bring that up. And in most cases, the adjusters will come back and reassess the claim. And I would say it's 85% of all claims have to be reassessed after the cage is down, because that cage, it's a strong cage to a degree, but it will flex. It'll flex and bend, and then it pulls away from the house, and it'll pull the fascia board, and the fascia board will snap back. And you know what I'm talking about, Mary.
Oh, definitely makes a weakness there.
Total weakness. And then I have to, the new cage is hung basically from the structure of the home, and we can't hang the cage if there's structural damage to the home. So generally there is that issue to deal with. And on a lighter note, I don't know, come up with something, Brandon. Yeah. On a lighter note, I guess you could tell I'm a little wired up about this thing. Before this storm hit, 3 days before, I turned into a madman around the house. I just went, I just completely went nuts trying to, defend myself from this storm.
Right.
And I'm still trying to calm down. Maybe you can help me with
Brad,
this.
I
right?
got a card for
She's
you
got a
when we're
plan
done.
for peace.
It was three days of full bore, and now it's going to be like 3 months of calming down. Okay, that's all I have to say for this moment.
Yeah, and it was the waiting game. When it comes, we're talking about Irma. The waiting game, constantly waiting, checking the news, seeing where the eye's at now. She did the little shift thing on us, and
I bought a ridiculous amount of supplies. I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I'm going to drink a lot of water, and I have a lot of batteries for a long time.
We actually had a water, battery and beer party afterwards.
There you go.
Because when the stores were out of water, we had to buy beer. Had to bathe in something, right?
You had no choice but to bathe in
we
beer.
had no choice whatsoever.
You got to stay hydrated somehow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's it. And I'm sure that people that are listening to this show, I'm sure that they can probably go along with what we're saying about the stress factor that was built up prior to the storm. And,
right.
And then I saw on Bay News 9, I saw that they did an article about that, and I'm watching it. And I'm saying, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
I need to calm down, but I thought I could calm
drained
down
afterwards too.
I thought I could calm down. Now I've got to go out and measure all these jobs. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Now you're going to have to work.
I have to go back to work.
It's a shame that
again.
you got to work for a living, Fred.
Yeah, it's too bad.
We took a little impromptu vacation too, because I kind of looked at it like, this, and the buildup was like, wow, you're looking at this thing. It's the biggest one. They were talking about it might be the first ever Category 6 storm that we've ever seen, and so I started getting ahead of it. And I remembered, I've grown up in Florida my whole life, and so. The mortgage industry, the real estate industry, a lot of things just slow down to a screeching halt in a lot of cases, especially with, deals not being able to close. So I just looked at it like, hey, let's get out ahead of this thing. Let's get out, because you don't want to wait till the last minute and then get stuck on I-75 like a lot of people did, running out of gas. So we got out ahead, went up, stayed at Airbnb in Gainesville for a couple of days, then went on, shot over to Auburn, Alabama, just to get out ahead of it and kind of take a little impromptu vacation, to a little hiking in a state park in Alabama, some stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to get out. And it's been a little while since I've taken that long of a trip. I think it ended up being like 6 or 7 days before we ended up coming back. But so it's nice to be back to work, settling in, trying to get things back to normal. And, we're here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. That's our goal, is to help you understand more as a consumer advocate, taking that consumer advocate approach to things that you think about on a daily basis. It could be something to do with your credit. Maybe you've had credit impacted from the latest, breach that we've seen. We always have breaches in the credit space, identity theft, prevention, recovery. We've got William Crawley, the credit magician. Of course, real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning. A lot of ways that we can help you live a better life and be that force for good out there in the community here with the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let's bring Lela into the conversation. Lela Bloodsworth, she's a founder of Plan for Peace, and she's a local licensed psychotherapist out of St. Pete. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me. And thankfully, I didn't have much damage at all. I had a bunch of trees down and a fence down, but luckily no roof damage. But of course, you guys would be the first one I would call if something like that happened.
Thank you.
But very grateful. We're fortunate not to be in Tennessee and not to be in Puerto Rico and some of these other places. So thoughts and prayers to them. But stress is difficult enough to deal with. But in my field, dealing with people that are divorcing, this storm and the weather certainly has sent a lot of people into a really negative place. So if you're out there and you're listening, I would encourage you, don't wait to get some help. Certainly look for your resources, know who you're using for your resources. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a Supreme Court certified family mediator and parent coordinator in the 6th, 12th, and 13th Judicial Circuit. I've been serving families and children going through divorce for over 20 years. So my Plan for Peace seminar is once a month at the University of South Florida. And it's a seminar to educate people on the adverse or negative effects of high conflict on children in divorce, arguing, just parents that can't get along. A lot of parents think if they're not physically hurting their children that they're not abusing them. But there's an ACEs study out, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study, that tells us that the emotional trauma that kids get put through is just as bad as hitting. So the seminar is really valuable for parents and professionals. There's continuing education credits for attorneys and for mental health professionals. So,
and that's coming up soon?
The next seminar is October 7th. The seminar on the 30th is booked, so that's not available, but October 7th will be the next one, and it's once a month. Go to my website, www.bloodsworthintervention.com. You can go to the registration link and find out when all the seminars are each month.
Bloodsworthintervention.com, Saturday, October 7th.
Correct.
And at USF down there in St. Pete?
Yeah, the St. Pete campus, the
Cool.
Student Center.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's talk about that. We're coming up on our first break, but when we come back, I'd like to dive deeper into some of these issues that you're seeing, because I think there's so much out there in terms of, children these days. They're being pulled in so many situations. You got the online bullying now to contend with, in addition to the just regular old school bullying, I guess. And then and then of course the family dynamic has changed significantly as well over the last 10 years, 12 years, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of different things happening in that space. So looking forward to our chat in the next segment here with Lela Bloodsworth. She's the founder of Plan for Peace. And we also have an interesting feel-good story of the week here coming up. Irma Tampa ad agency rehabilitating billboards. And let's give a shout out to Signature Massage and Facial Spa in Tampa Bay. Are you looking for a place to get a massage or a facial at an affordable price without having to sign up for membership? Look no further. At Signature Massage and Facial Spa, they offer a 1-hour Swedish massage for $49.95. Always no contracts. And come in early for the early bird hours and you'll receive an additional $10 off. And for those muscles and knots that need extra work, ask about getting the deep tissue or sports massage. Facial Spa, Signature Massage and Facial Spa, 11248 West Hillsborough Avenue in Tampa, or give them a call directly, 925-8898, 813-925-8898. We'll see you on the other side.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com. Listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Platinum MVP Realty, I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, featured in Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, Top Agent Magazine, and the Business Journal up for the Top 40 Under 40 award right now. And got a couple of hot listings I want to let you know about here out in Plant City. Here's a property in Plant City, $1.99 million, $2 million property here, 5421 Kelly Road in Plant City, country living on 12.89 acres, MOL, 4-car attached garage with a drive-through garage, 5,900 square feet heated. Total square footage is 8,158 square feet. 5421 Kelly Road in Plant City. A great buying opportunity, especially if you want to be out in the country a little bit there, out in East Hillsborough County. Also, a beautiful property in Largo, 14465 Tanglewood Drive in Largo. 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, Bay Hills subdivision. $560,000, 2,900 square feet, and it's a wonderful ranch-style pool home in Largo, and approximately 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, and 2-car garage, situated on a popular cul-de-sac in the Bay Hills on a double lot. So a beautiful property here. 2 great listings from Platinum MVP Realty. Check out platinummvprealty.net. And if you're looking to sell any real estate, we'd love to talk to you about that, help you maximize the exposure through some of our unique strategies that we employ. And giving a shout out to Healthy Gourmet, Felicia Lacaille with Healthy Gourmet, and she's got meal plans starting at $90 a week. Optimal fuel, optimal performance. Felicia Lacaille, longtime friend of the program. Healthy Gourmet, organic veggies, natural proteins, delivered fresh 3 times a week. Meal plan starting at $90. So what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? Reach out to Healthy Gourmet and Felicia Lacaille, and all of our expert contributors can be found at consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors from our website at consumerqb.com. Just click on the show cards tab, the show contributors tab, and you'll be able to find their information. In studio today, we've got Mary Surniki. She's the corporate compliance manager with Suncoast Roofing. We've got the 10-man Fred Muth in the house, design and sales with Tampa screens and aluminum, helping you add on those beautiful screens and lanais, patios onto your beautiful properties in Tampa Bay. And also Lela Bloodsworth as well. She's founder of Plan for Peace, licensed psychotherapist. She's got an event coming up Saturday, October 7th over at the USF campus in St. Pete. And Bloodsworth, what was the website again? I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's www.bloodsworthintervention.com.
Intervention.com. I couldn't read my scratch here. So, all right. So we're here in studio helping you win in any marketplace. So let's go back to Lela. So Lela, what are you seeing out there, or what's most prevalent? We talk about, kind of going in the break, we were talking about some of the issues that are kind of top of mind for me, what I see with society now, the faster pace, everything's such a fast pace nowadays. And of course we got these wonderful smartphones that can be both a blessing and a curse.
Absolutely. Well, recently, a lot of phone calls, a lot of referrals are coming in for parents trying to find resources for their children. A lot of parents that are separated or divorced, not because they're bad parents, they just get pretty wrapped up, self-absorbed in just the survival of that. Divorce is private, it's painful, it's very personal.
Right.
So a lot of parents sometimes miss the signs or symptoms, or being able to just be aware that their child is going through anything.
Right.
And a lot of parents don't want to believe that they need help. They want to just try to get through it. If you get sick, you go to the doctor. If you get depressed, you just sit home in the dark. So a lot of times I get calls pretty late in the game for people. So I'm always encouraging parents and professionals that work with families that are having challenging issues going on or in difficult times to make those referrals sooner rather than later. Obviously, that's going to be the best, plan for intervention for peace to get people help, adults and children.
Yeah, it seems like the sooner you can kind of head it off, the better it's going to be. It's not going to, have that underlying issues that can sometimes happen. So walk us through it. How do you like this to go down? Folks come in, they sit down with you together, or is it separate? How do you recommend that?
Right. Well, it depends on what the services they're looking for. If it's therapy, I always see every family member individually, so they can come in a very unedited way without anyone else in the room and give me their version of what's going on, whether it's about their spouse or their child or whoever, or the child's telling me about their parent. So if it's a therapeutic referral, that's how that goes. If it's a parent coordination referral, that's a service where parents in the state of Florida, you must have a parenting plan in order to get a divorce.
Right.
So that plan has to be completed and submitted with your final dissolution of marriage. So I help parents to draft and create those parenting plans. Again, I see each person individually, but then we spend some time working on communication skills. It's not just the parenting plan. Anyone can come up with a parenting plan, but then if you can't communicate through the challenges, the real life events that come around that parenting plan, maybe we need to switch a weekend or something like that. The parenting plan isn't really the issue at that point. It's the communication between the parents. So it gives a supportive resource there, a non-biased resource for parents to learn how to negotiate out
it's a skill they have to practice, wouldn't you say?
It is definitely learned. It's not, like I said before, it's not because they're bad people. It's just a lot of people haven't learned how do you negotiate out your differences with someone. And we take a lot more liberties in a marriage or with our significant other than we do, say, at work. We're much kinder, to people at work or to people, in the community than we are to our significant other. So that's a bit of an epiphany for people when they come in. And I'm always grateful to see people learning and being able to use that parent coordination process. And when that doesn't work, for parents that have maybe real concerns about abuse or neglect, those things do happen. They are real. I do provide social investigation services. They used to be called child custody evaluations, and that can be court ordered, or the parties can, agree or jointly stipulate on those services. But that's a way, if you've got issues going on that you just don't feel like anyone understands, or there's more to the story, you should probably look at having a social investigator come on board.
Yeah, and let's talk about with children again. Back to helping out the younger generation. They're faced with a different level of scrutiny, with challenges in terms of my friends, the peer pressure. The friends are doing it, with some of these different apps, and things that they're accessing at an earlier age. What's your advice to parents in some of those situations?
Right. So parental control. I can't say it enough. If you're a parent and your child believes that they should be entitled to a password or passcode on any technology that you shouldn't have, that's a problem.
Right.
You're a parent. That's your job to supervise that until your child is, old enough and has enough insight to be able to manage those types of responsibilities. Both parents should be involved in advocating and supporting that. A lot of times, it's kind of the good cop, bad cop thing that goes on, especially in parents, that are divorcing. And I even see it in parents in the same household that one parent will be a little more laxed or more, easy with their child about something because then they're the favorite.
That's it, the competition.
Yeah, you have to be on the same page as parents, because if not, kids are smart.
They're so smart.
They'll
today.
figure it out. They're they're not. It's not because they're bad. They're just manipulative. They're learning the ways of the world. So.
That's right.
Social media probably plays in a huge factor with that. Like.
Unbelievable. The liberties that some children get to have, when Susie sees that, Sally gets to have no parental controls and can go surf and be online and talk to all these people in chat, and especially a lot of these games, kids are gaming and they're going into these sites and they're talking to adults and they don't realize it.
Yep.
Very scary, very scary.
Yeah, tough situation. I mean, it could lead to a lot of different situations where the kids are vulnerable. They're in a position where they think it's one person, it's not. A lot of things that to be at least concerned about as a parent. You have to be in the position of leadership. You have to have that certain role of discipline and maintain that. And then that's the trick. That's the catch-22 that I see play out in a divorce situation. We work with a great family law attorney here on the show, Attorney Joe Kearns, and I've had him on the show many times, and Joe's great. But he talks about, a lot of times the mentality is, I'm getting a divorce. We're going to hire a bulldog and we're going to be tough. That's the mentality that sometimes people take when it goes into a divorce, rather than the opposite would be, hey, unfortunately this partnership didn't work out as a marriage. Let's figure out a way to find a common ground that's best for the children, put the children's needs first, and understand that it's going to be some give and take, and there's going to be weekends where you thought you were going to be able to do something, but you're going to need to switch, and you
have to be flexible.
That's right, flexible, negotiate. So I love that idea that you're talking about with your plan for peace and your child custody evaluation services as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when parents come to the Plan for Peace seminar, one of the things I do is show them, valid, solid research on what we know, emotional trauma, conflict. When parents aren't on the same page, some of the consequences long-term that we see for kids, and that seems to be pretty impactful. I show them videos. I show them, different articles on research. So that seems to be very helpful. Sometimes the parents will come together, which is always very interesting. And sometimes they will come on separate days, and that's fine. They don't have to be in that seminar together. What matters most to me is that they just are absorbing the information. But, that's also helpful, when you go to court and you're able to let a judge know, hey, as a parent, I went and became trauma informed. I know what to do, what not to do, what the long-term consequences are. So that's actually a valuable tool in the courts for, just for strategizing cases. Besides, the knowledge is just important and you should have it. And the same thing for attorneys that are working with families. They get a ACEs informed trauma certificate to place on their wall. So when potential clients come in, they see that attorney took the extra, effort to go out and learn more about just how bad trauma is and advocate for resolution. Don't litigate, mediate. There's non-adversarial processes out there that can be used before you go to trial.
Right. Yeah. I love that term, non-adversarial. I mean, there's so many, in life today, there's so many challenges you see, in order to, to have a decent family unit, you're pulled in a lot of different ways when it comes to earning income, and then of course, hey, am I going to volunteer time at my church or my, or am I going to be involved with the PTA at the school? I mean, there's so many ways, especially that, and that's not even counting getting into the, I look back at our dad, our parents growing up, a lot of times, I think about the hours they put in as football coaches and the things that we did, in the extracurricular. So there's a lot of stress and a lot of challenges already in today's lifestyle. So, when it comes to adding in these extra challenges, just think about, the children in a lot of places. You look at the children and it ultimately, because that's going to be what's going to perpetuate through society, generational.
Absolutely. It takes a village to raise a child. And if you're going through divorce or if you're in, an intact household and there's problems, there's no doubt that isn't just your private problem. That trickles over to the community. Mm-hmm. A problem child is going to be that person that you're going to see out it's having legal problems in the juvenile justice system, right. Eventually, just on a wrong path. So I do think it's a responsibility that we all have to care about that and to make sure that it is so much harder. It's way more difficult to deal with anyone in conflict in an adversarial way. Even in the moment, you might feel a little bit of control, mm-hmm. but in the long run, I'll tell you, give it up because it feels so much better to find those non-adversarial solutions to get along with people and work things out. You feel way more in control.
And it takes practice, and it really does, and mm-hmm. I've failed miserably sometimes at that, thinking that, I could tell you. No, actually. Yeah. And a lot of times I don't know everything, and I have to ask for help, and look for that information. I think some of the strongest people I know, they go and ask like experts like Fred, I've got a problem with my pool enclosure, get the information, or, I am going through a divorce. It's, we're not experts on divorce,
it's a pride thing.
It's or an ego,
An ego and pride. That's
once we let that go and ask for the information, I think that,
Absolutely. I think if people just practice compassion, it's so easy to take the bait when someone comes at you and maybe they're not being so nice or they're having a difficult time and people want to displace their anger. It's an open invitation, to put on your boxing gloves. But if you just practice compassion, if you know someone that needs some help or someone that's in trouble, just try to listen or be there and just be the bigger person.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one of the Chinese proverbs? It says if somebody hands you a gift, you don't accept it. It's still in their hands, right? So you don't have to accept it when someone's being that mad or angry to you. If you don't accept it, if you don't acknowledge it, they still have that gift in their hand. It's a gift that you didn't want to receive. So stay with us here. When we come back, we're going to go into our lightning round and more from our expert contributors and here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. More from our expert contributors here. Lela Bloodsworth in studio, Plan for Peace. Fred Muth, the Tin Man, Design and Sales, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, as well as Mary Surniki, more from with Suncoast Roofing. So stay with us. Don't touch that dial. We're coming up into our lightning round and our parting words of advice from our expert contributors. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, the Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. That is the goal of our show. 80 show partners, expert contributors that come on and help you understand more about avoiding commission-based advice, making you more street smart. And we have a QAA formula with this show. So you're going to have questions as consumers. We're going to provide you answers, but we want to take it a step further. We want to give you action items to help you live a better life, our QAA formula. So reach out at 813-670-7372. Anything that you've heard today, we would love to talk to you more or put you in touch with our expert contributors. 813-670-7372. And the Consumer Quarterback Show is found online at consumerqb.com. consumerqb.com, and got a hot listing down next to our hotel partner in beautiful St. Pete Beach is Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora. We've got 3610 Casablanca Avenue in St. Pete Beach. It's $625,000. Beautiful duplex opportunity. It's a rare find just north of the Don Cesar Hotel. It's a beautiful property here, 1,954 square feet, $625,000, and you walk across the street and stick your toes into the sugar sands of the Gulf of Mexico. All right, and give a shout out to Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora on beautiful St. Pete Beach. It's the first new hotel built on St. Pete Beach in decades, and its Spanish ancestry meets cool Mediterranean attitude. It's a whitewashed Mediterranean palace with expansive luxury suites with balconies overlooking the intercoastal waterway. And they have a great restaurant on site as well, the Castile Restaurant, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And you also have the rooftop 360 lounge, taking those beautiful sunsets over the Gulf of Mexico at Kipton's, the Hotel Zamora, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And make sure when you reach out to book your staycation here, if you're in Tampa Bay, that you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you, and you're going to get 20% off of your stay over at Hotel Zamora on St. Pete Beach. All right, we're back here in studio helping you win in any marketplace. Mary Surniki in the house, Suncoast Roofing. Fred Muth, 10-man in the house as well. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Lela Bloodsworth, founder, Plan for Peace, and licensed psychotherapist here out of St. Pete. And let's go ahead and jump into our lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning
round.
rounds.
All right, top tips, things to do, nuggets of advice. You're up first, Mary.
When you call for an estimate and you have somebody come out and to give an estimate, make sure the person at the door, matches their credentials. Make sure that, if it's one of our guys or myself, because I go on roofs too, that we have a Suncoast Roofing shirt, Suncoast Roofing truck. Everything makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, ask questions.
Yeah.
Ask questions, because there's a lot of people out there that are looking to, make a quick buck and take advantage. And, you're your biggest, advocate for yourself to protect yourself. So make sure it makes sense.
Yeah, got a lot of good that came out of the storm, in terms of the relief efforts, people coming together. One of our own show partners, Juan Conchero with Catering by the Family, he does all of our events that we have. We got our gratitude party coming up on the 19th of October, but he also is the president of On the Upwind Flying Club, and they've been flying down lots of supplies. I think 11,000 pounds of supplies, a couple different days in a row. They've been doing that down to Key West, and then also now they're doing down to Puerto Rico. So shout out to Juan Conchero with Catering by the Family. Fred Muth, lightning round.
Lightning round it is. Well, Lela, to begin with, I think that you provide a tremendous service to the community, and I from the bottom of my heart. Mary, you too. Everybody needs a roof over their head. From the bottom of my heart. I'm the screen enclosure man, the tin man. I supply and I sell a luxury. However, please continue to buy screen enclosures. And if you're going to buy screen enclosure, by the way, I feel like the thorn between two roses here. In this business, and in all seriousness, I always advise the homeowner, the purchaser, to please ask a lot of questions about the project. Our company welcomes the questions. There are companies out there that will not answer the questions for whatever reason. I don't get it. However, if the questions are answered before the project commences, there's no surprises on the back end, and that makes us happier than the buyer.
Yeah, that's right. Being proactive, asking the right questions up front, get it in writing, verifying the contractors, lots of the recurring themes here on the Quarterback Show.
My best clients are those, when I show up to the house, they've got a list of questions for me, and I know that that's going to be a very good prospect.
Right. Yeah, I like that as well on the real estate side. Whenever they have their questions, they've thought it through. That's something that you want to see. Yes. All right, Lela, top tips.
Top tips. Well, of course, don't delay. If you need help, no matter what it is, don't delay. And absolutely know who your providers are, the right providers to use if you're going to put your money somewhere. If you're going through a divorce, getting a shark or going at it legally initially isn't always the smartest thing to do. There's a lot of other resources. Anyone wants to call me, 727-348-7323. I'm very glad to do a free consultation over the phone with you to let you know if I have the resources for you. Gladly send you to someone else. I'd send my own family members to if I'm not the right place. But don't delay. If you need help, the sooner you get it, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't wait. And be proactive. And it's something where you can sit down, get a consultation. I'm glad to see you offered a quick consultation on the phone, too, just to see if it's something that you want to investigate further and find out. Because you've seen it happen in other cases. So you're going to say, hey, this is something that we've seen play out. Here's something to consider, something that the potential client may not have even considered at one point. Could play out and be something that comes up later in the process. All right, let's do another round here. Another round of top tips, consumer tips, nuggets of advice. Mary, you're up first.
I got a good one. When somebody is on your roof doing work and somebody throws a shingle through a screen, call Fred. He's the guy that'll come right out there to you and save the day.
I'll throw the shingle back. Well, again, in all seriousness, the non-licensing issue is always a problem in this business, and the permitting process is very long and delayed. And a lot of the non-licensed guys will go in there and do the job with or without a permit, and in most cases without a permit. And, unfortunately, these are very talented guys, and we wish they'd come to work for us. We need you.
Yeah.
But if something happens, a guy cuts his finger off or whatever, there's no protection for the homeowner.
Right. Yeah.
So these are points that we like to bring up in this industry, and that's a very common problem. Injuries in the business are very common.
Good point. Lela, we got 30 seconds left.
30 seconds. Never be afraid to put your money towards a good cause. If you're going through a divorce or you need therapy or whatever it might be, I can get it done for a third of the cost. So the money you'd spend with me, you might not, be thinking too much about the difference between coming to see me or use an attorney, but it's a third of the cost and you learn something in the process rather than just getting a judge giving you a judgment.
Got it. And then Saturday, October 7th is the USF
next Plan for Peace seminar.
Plan for Peace seminar. That's right. Saturday, October 7th. And I want to thank all of our expert contributors for coming in today. I want to thank our listeners and viewers of our TV show. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some leftover food you may have, carry it with you to and from your commute to work, and handing it to that person that you see in need. Be a force for good in the community and continue to tune into our show, The Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.